The snowflakes fell like tiny shards of glass from a pale gray sky, covering the empty streets in a white silence. The world seemed frozen in time, except for one figure, trembling on a wooden bench at the lonely bus stop. Her name was Emily Carter, just 23 years old, but life had aged her spirit far beyond her years. Her thin dress, once a symbol of youth and joy, now clung to her body like a cruel reminder of what she had lost. Her bare feet pressed against the frozen concrete, turning red under the relentless cold. She wrapped her arms around herself, shivering, but no warmth came. Emily had no family left, no home to return to. 3 months ago, she had aged out of the foster system with nothing but a paper bag of belongings and a college degree that had lost its meaning without a permanent address. Every night since then had been a battle against the cold, the hunger, and the loneliness that threatened to break her completely. As she sat there, staring blankly at the falling snow, a thought whispered in her mind. Maybe tonight will be the night I don't wake up again. The words frightened her, but they felt real. She was too tired to keep fighting. And then, out of nowhere, a sound broke the silence. Soft, crunching footsteps in the snow. Small, steady, determined. Emily lifted her head, expecting to see another commuter, or maybe someone rushing home to warmth. But instead, she saw something that didn't belong to this frozen world. A little girl, no more than 4 years old, bundled up in a bright red winter coat and a blue knitted hat with a pom-pom that bobbed as she walked. The child carried a small brown paper bag in her mitten-covered hands, holding it close to her chest as if it were treasure. Her tiny boots pressed into the snow with confidence, and her eyes, wide, innocent, full of something Emily hadn't felt in months, were fixed directly on her. Emily blinked in confusion. A child? Alone? Out here? She looked around quickly, searching for parents. That's when she noticed. A tall man stood some distance away, leaning against a street sign, his breath visible in the cold air as he spoke into his phone. His gaze was elsewhere, distracted. The little girl ignored everything else. She marched right up to the bus stop, stopped in front of Emily, and tilted her head. Her voice was soft but certain. "You look cold." Emily's heart jolted. She opened her mouth, but no words came. Before she could respond, the girl extended the small brown paper bag toward her. "I saved half of my sandwich from lunch. You can have it." The gesture was so simple, so pure, that Emily felt her throat tighten. Her eyes stung with tears she had promised herself she would never cry in front of strangers. She forced a weak smile. "That's very sweet of you," Emily whispered, her voice cracking. "But I can't take your food, honey. You need it to grow big and strong." The little girl studied her carefully, like she was measuring the truth of Emily's words. And then, with the kind of wisdom only children sometimes carry, she asked, "Do you not have a house to go to when it snows?" Emily froze. The innocence of the question pierced straight through her walls. For the first time in months, she couldn't hide behind excuses or strength she didn't have. "No," Emily admitted softly, almost ashamed. "I don't have a house right now, but I'm trying to find one." The girl nodded, as if that made perfect sense. Her next words would change everything. "You need a home," she said matter-of-factly. "And I need a mommy." Emily's breath caught. She stared at the child, stunned into silence. "My mommy went to heaven," the girl continued, her tone still calm, still certain. "Daddy gets very sad. Maybe we could help each other." For a long moment, the snow kept falling, the wind howling softly through the bus stop. Emily sat frozen, staring at this child who had just spoken the most impossible, beautiful words she had ever heard. And then she heard a man's voice, loud, worried. "Lucy." The tall man had ended his call and was now striding quickly toward them, panic on his face. His eyes locked on the little girl standing beside Emily, and his steps quickened. Emily's heart began to race. She didn't want trouble. She didn't want to be seen as dangerous. She tried to stand, but her body was stiff from the cold. Lucy looked back at her calmly and whispered, "Don't be scared. Daddy says kind people don't need to be afraid." Emily turned her head and saw the man's shadow stretch across the snow as he reached for his daughter's hand. "Lucy." The man's voice cut through the falling snow like a warning bell. His tall frame moved swiftly, his dark coat swaying as his boots pressed into the icy ground. Relief and fear mixed in his eyes as he spotted his daughter standing beside a stranger, a young woman who looked fragile, broken, and far too vulnerable to be dangerous. Emily lowered her gaze immediately, shame flushing through her. She didn't want to cause trouble. She didn't want this man to think she was a threat. Struggling against the stiffness in her legs, she pushed herself up from the bench. "I'm so sorry," she said quickly, her voice trembling as much as her body. "I didn't mean to. She just came over, I swear." "I tried to." The man raised a hand gently, cutting her apology short. His eyes softened as he glanced at his daughter, who clung stubbornly to the paper bag she had tried to offer. "Lucy," he said, his voice firm yet filled with love, "you can't wander off like that. You scared me." Lucy pouted but didn't let go of Emily's hand. "But Daddy, she was cold. And she doesn't have a house. We can't just leave her." The man sighed, rubbing his forehead as if the weight of the world rested on him. Emily wanted to disappear into the snow. This was exactly what she feared, being seen as someone to be pitied, someone in need of rescuing. "I'm sorry," Emily whispered again. Her voice cracked. "I didn't want to bother you." She was just being kind. For the first time, the man really looked at her, looked past the torn dress and the bare feet, past the exhaustion carved into her face. What he saw wasn't danger. It was someone young, lost, and fighting battles most people never saw. "My name's Daniel Harper," he said carefully. "This little one is Lucy. And you are?" "Emily," she answered softly. "Emily Carter." Lucy tugged on her father's coat urgently. "Daddy, Emily doesn't have a mommy or a house. And I don't have a mommy either. Don't you see? She could be my mommy." Daniel's breath caught. For a moment, his eyes darted between his daughter and the young woman in front of him. The innocence of the child's words was overwhelming and dangerous. You didn't just meet a stranger at a bus stop and invite them into your life. But he couldn't ignore the sincerity in Lucy's tone or the desperation hidden behind Emily's eyes. Emily shook her head quickly, horrified. No, please don't misunderstand. She's just sweet. Children say things. I would never." But her words died in her throat, because Lucy, stubborn and bright, interrupted again. "Daddy, you always tell me the best people are the ones who are kind when nobody's watching." Emily was talking to the snow like it was her friend. "That means she's good." Daniel knelt to meet his daughter's eyes. His voice lowered, warm but firm. "Sweetheart, sometimes kindness and safety are different things. We have to be careful." Emily's chest tightened. She knew what was coming. The rejection, the dismissal, the moment they walked away and left her alone again. And part of her wanted it, because hoping for anything more was too painful. But then Daniel stood, his gaze steady. "Look, Emily, I don't know your story, but no one should be sitting out here in this weather. There's a diner around the corner. If you'd like, you can join us for coffee, warm up a little." No strings attached. The invitation shocked her. Emily blinked, unsure if she had heard correctly. I don't want to impose." "You wouldn't be," Daniel interrupted. "Just a cup of coffee. That's all." Lucy's eyes sparkled. "And maybe soup. We could share soup." Against her better judgment, Emily's lips curved into the faintest smile. Her stomach twisted with hunger, but more than that, with the ache of being seen, truly seen, for the first time in months. "Okay," she whispered. Daniel nodded, motioning for them to walk together. Lucy grabbed Emily's cold hand with her tiny mittened one, as though she had already decided they belonged side by side. The three of them moved slowly through the snow toward the warm glow of the diner's neon sign. And as they stepped inside, the heat wrapped around Emily like a blanket. She hadn't realized how much she missed the smell of coffee, the chatter of people, the simple comfort of light and warmth. Daniel ordered hot chocolate for Lucy, black coffee for himself, and, after some hesitation, soup and bread for Emily. She tried to protest, but he insisted. "It's nothing," he said. "Just food." For a while, silence filled the booth. Lucy colored on the paper placemat, humming softly to herself, while Daniel studied Emily with quiet curiosity. Finally, he broke the silence. "Emily, what happened?" Her fingers tightened around the warm cup of soup. The steam blurred her vision as much as the tears rising in her eyes. For weeks, she had held everything inside, surviving on scraps of food and scraps of dignity. But here, under the steady gaze of a kind stranger and the innocent trust of a little girl, the walls began to crack. "I aged out of foster care," Emily said finally. "No family, no place to go. I tried to find work, But without an address or references, no one hires you. I thought the degree would help, but she shook her head. I've been sleeping wherever I can. Tonight, I didn't know if I'd make it through. Daniel's jaw tightened, but his eyes were soft with understanding. He reached across the table, resting his hand lightly against the edge, not quite touching hers. I work as a social worker, he said quietly. I see this all the time. The system fails good people. But Emily, you're still here. That means you haven't given up. Her lips trembled, but she didn't speak. Lucy suddenly looked up from her coloring, her voice as bright and certain as ever. Daddy, Emily can stay in our guest room. Then she won't be cold anymore. And she can read me stories. Emily's breath caught. Daniel looked at his daughter, then back at Emily. His face was unreadable. The words hung in the air between them, heavier than the falling snow outside. The diner fell silent after Lucy's bold words. Daddy, Emily can stay in our guest room. Then she won't be cold anymore. Emily's heart skipped. She shook her head quickly. That's very kind, Lucy, but I couldn't intrude. Your daddy has already done more than I could ask. Lucy frowned. But she can't sleep outside, Daddy. It's dangerous. Daniel sighed, clearly torn. His daughter's innocence clashed with his own caution. He turned back to Emily. What did you study? Education, she whispered. I wanted to be a teacher. But without an address or references, no one will hire me. Daniel sighed, clearly torn. His daughter's innocence clashed with his own caution. He turned back to Emily. What did you study? Education, she whispered. I wanted to be a teacher. But without an address or references, no one will hire me. Daniel leaned back thoughtfully. The district always needs substitute teachers. I could put in a word. Emily's eyes widened, but she shook her head. I don't even have clothes for an interview. Lucy piped up brightly. She can wear mommy's clothes. The word mommy brought a shadow over Daniel's face. Yet he finally nodded. You're right, Lucy. She would have wanted us to help. That night, Daniel drove them to his modest house. Emily clutched her single paper bag, the weight of her entire life. Inside, warmth and the smell of pine surrounded her. Daniel showed her the guest room. A small bed, a dresser, and a soft quilt. Emily touched the blanket, her eyes stinging. I don't know how to thank you. You don't need to, Daniel said. Just rest. Lucy darted in with her stuffed bear. I'll read you a story tonight, Emily. Emily laughed through tears. That sounds perfect. Later, lying beneath the quilt, she listened to the quiet hum of the house. For the first time in months, she felt safe. She whispered into the darkness. Maybe I've finally found where I belong. Emily slept peacefully, wrapped in warmth she hadn't felt in years. Morning sunlight greeted her, along with the smell of coffee. Emily, Lucy cheered, tugging her hand. Daddy made pancakes. You have to sit by me. Breakfast was simple, but Emily savored every bite. It wasn't just food, it was family. Daniel handed her folded clothes. They belong to my wife, he said gently. She'd want them to be used. Emily's eyes filled with tears. She accepted, knowing it was more than kindness. It was trust. Days turned into weeks. Emily helped with chores, read Lucy bedtime stories, and even gained work as a substitute teacher with Daniel's help. Standing before her. 6 months later, the house had changed. Lucy's laughter filled the halls, and Emily's belongings finally had a place. One snowy evening, the three decorated a Christmas tree together. Lucy looked up suddenly. Emily, remember when I said you need a home and I need a mommy? I was right, wasn't I? Emily's eyes softened. Yes, sweetheart. You were right. Sometimes the best families are the ones we find when we need them most. Lucy hugged her tightly. Then it's forever, right? Emily held her close. Never leaving, she whispered. Daniel reached for Emily's hand. The warmth of his touch said everything. Snow fell outside as laughter filled the home. Emily looked around. The tree, the child in her arms, the man beside her. She finally believed the words she whispered into the night. I'm home.